So he is speaking to us on the human side of sustainability, why construction needs to put people first. He's Engineer Professor Francis Kwesi Bondinuba. I hope I got that right. Bondinuba from Kumasi Technical University. So please, Prof, you can hear us. We are ready for you. Please, because you are not clapping, that's why they are not joining in. They are not feeling the love. Thank you, Prof. Thank you so much. Please, you have 15 minutes. Thank you. Prof, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Yes. Please, he didn't hear the clap. That's why. So please, let's clap for him one more time.
Talking about the same thing. And I want to thank the organizers and for decorating the stage so beautifully with two beautiful women that are crowded around our chairman this afternoon. So, Prof. Chair, this afternoon, I'm very jealous about you. God bless you. And thanks to Professor de Graaf for giving me the opportunity to be part of this conference. With that, let me see if I can share my slides, and then we take it from there. Yes. So today I'm going to talk about the human side of sustainability and the reasons why construction needs to put people first. To begin with, I bring you greetings from Kumasi Technical University, where I'm currently the Dean, Faculty of Built and Natural Environment. And then Durban University of Technology, where I'm serving as Ordinary Research Professor. And then finally from Heriot-Watt University in Scotland, where I'm a visiting scholar. And I'm currently doing this presentation from Heriot-Watt University. To start with, let's look at the essence of sustainability. Sustainability in construction goes beyond technical solutions. Prof. Chair is about valuing people. And therefore, in terms of construction, it means designing, building, and operating structures in ways that minimize environmental impact whilst balancing economic and social benefit throughout the project life cycle. At this point, sustainability isn't merely about eco-materials or green ratings. It is about people's life. True sustainability must consider the social fabric of construction, that is the workers, our communities, and then the end users. It must measure success by how well projects uplift lives, ensure safety, and foster dignity, not only how efficiently resources are used. Beyond the concrete and steel, buildings are more than physical structures. They embody human purpose, and therefore construction must evolve from focusing solely on materials and engineering efficiency to emphasizing workers' rights and then making impact in our communities as well as the users' well-being. Human experiences, therefore, should guide design, development, and maintenance to achieve sustainable and resilient environment. The African construction industry, projected to grow by over 6% annually by 2030, is at a crossroad. And if it continues to measure success by purely cost and scale, it risks perpetuating social inequality and resource exploitation. But if it redefines progress through people-centered sustainability, then Africa could set a new global model, one where the built environment nurtures human potential. And as Professor Idinyira said, strong communities make stronger planets. And I want to put across that stronger people will make stronger communities. And therefore, stronger communities will make stronger planet. But where lies the social contributions to sustainability? So this takes me to the social gaps in construction sustainability. Despite environmental advancement, social inequalities remains, including gender imbalances, unsafe sites, and poor living conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, addressing these gaps require policy reforms, training, and worker representation. At this juncture, Prof Chair, social sustainability isn't optional anymore. It is fundamental to achieving equitable and ethical construction outcomes across communities and generations. We are all aware of many frameworks that are in existence. However, they underemphasize social well-being of the construction worker. Low worker participation, poor mental health, we are all aware of this. So I'm saying today that there is missing S in the ESG equation. And yesterday, for example, Professor Twala mentioned about policy implementation as a challenge. And I think these policy implementation will have to take people to drive the policy implementation process. Others have talked about the E and the G today. I think Madam Chair mentioned that as governance being the driver, being the enabler of E and the S. I want to put it today that the S become the enabler of the E and the G. And therefore, much emphasis should be put on the S, which is the social aspect of the ESG equation. And I'm not surprised today there is a gentleman in between the two ladies on the high table, and that is a beautiful decoration of the ESG. And so, Prof Chair being the middle, you balance the equation, and therefore we should balance the ESG equation with the S being our main focus. Building green buildings, beyond green buildings, why people matters. Again, ladies and gentlemen, green buildings often measure energy and water performance, but rarely human happiness. Sustainability must include social justice, safety, and worker empowerment. The greenest project fails if it neglects fair wages, mental health, and occupational dignity. A people-centered approach will ensure environmental gains that benefit society equitably. So human capital, I'm saying, is the heart of African green transition. Sustainability is powered by knowledge and innovation. We all know that. But it takes people to create and sustain these innovations. Therefore, the workforce that builds the continent green economy must be equipped, empowered, and ethically treated. Our sustainability practices must protect workers, foster learning, and respect our cultural diversities. By embedding human values into construction, management, and designs, we can create systems that nurture, not harm, the people who build these structures. Ladies and gentlemen, a project is sustainable only when every worker well-being is central. Social safety, fair compensation, and empowerment transform construction from a hazardous job to a respected career. True green will therefore begin when the workforce healthy, safety, and then dignity and aspirations are safeguarded throughout every project stage. I'm therefore saying that we must put people first in the ESG equation. And what are some of the strategies that we have to adopt? Embed people first strategy through participatory planning, inclusive leadership, and transparent governance. We must prioritize workers' safety, continuous education, and diversity in project teams. We should be able to reward firms that demonstrate human-centered innovations. Sustainable success will therefore mean aligning construction business growth with human flourishing at every stage of construction. At this point, I'm calling for us to humanize construction, whereby we have to build with heart, and then govern with transparency, and then measure our human well-being. Governance should be rooted in empathy that creates trust and accountability. Leadership must model ethical standards and prioritize indicators of well-being. Transparent decision-making and community engagement will sustain long-term success. When institutions build with heart, projects will gain moral legitimacy and societal trust, which are the foundations for genuine sustainability. Beyond carbon metrics, ladies and gentlemen, let's measure job satisfaction, safety, and inclusivity. Human well-being indicators must accurately reflect the sustainability of construction projects. Data on physical health, mental resilience, and social cohesion must ensure that progress benefits the individuals who contribute their labor and creativity daily in the construction industry. At this point, we need to develop a human-centered ESG model. And what will be the metrics or the components of this model? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying a reimagined ESG model for African construction must measure impact not only on ecosystem but also on people's well-being. A human-centered framework should therefore comprise of equity. What are these equity indicators? Fair wages, decent living standards, and social safeguards. Number 2 on the metric scale is engagement metrics, where we must get community participation, make sure stakeholders are satisfied, and then we empower our local communities. Number 3 will be ethical governance, where transparency in procurement, anti-corruption mechanisms, and fair labor policies and practices should be part of that model. And lastly, well-being outcomes, healthy construction environments, safe facilities, and resilient habitats. Like Prof said, when you go to our works construction site, we all know what we normally see there. As if those people there are not human beings. And so if we are to talk about sustainability in the built environment, ladies and gentlemen, we need to have a sense of urgency towards the human beings that are involved in this. Being it technology, being it governance, the social aspect of the ESG should be central. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'm calling for African construction industry to build with a heart and purpose. The future of African construction must be both green and humane. Every building, road, or bridge is a moral statement about how we value human life. Sustainability would only be authentic when no worker safety is compromised. No community is displaced without justice. And no young mind is denied access to the knowledge needed to build wisely. To put people first is not a sentimental act anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It is the smartest investment a continent can make. As we embrace African green transition, let us ensure that our most enduring legacy is not just what we construct, but whom we empowered in the process. As I end this presentation, ladies and gentlemen, I want to call for an intergenerational leadership that humanizes the continent's development story. As we move from cradle to cradle, ladies and gentlemen, let our legacy not be cool structures of glasses and concrete, but warmed symbols of human care. Let us build with heart. Let us build with purpose and responsibility, because in the final analysis, the measure of sustainability is not the lifespan of a building, but the well-being of the people who inhabit these buildings. Thank you very much.